Hi guys, welcome to the Shoegaze of 93 channel. And today I've got great news for Ride fans. Ride they have just announced a UK tour for September 2024 with two West Country dates on it, which is perfect for me since I come from Plymouth. And those two dates are Bristol SWX, where I actually went to see them on the Weather Diaries tour in 2017, and they've got a new, which will be a new venue for them, Falmouth, the Pavilion. Um, was it Terrace Pavilion or something? But I don't even know it. I haven't really. I'm not even that familiar with the Falmouth music scene, despite living quite close to Cornwall. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously, it kind of makes sense because the university down there is all very media and art campus. It's all very much geared towards that kind of stuff. So yeah, apparently they do have a really good music scene, and they've got like bands there that come up and play in Plymouth and other places. So yeah, a couple of West Country dates, which I'm really delighted about. Bristol is the 14th of September. That's a Saturday night, 7 o'clock start. Um, I guess that's when the band starts, and then Doors is even earlier probably. And 16th of September, a Monday night, is the Falmouth gig. Then you've got like I think they start off in Ireland, so they've got like Dublin first, and then Belfast, Cork's on there. You've got the Lead Mill in Sheffield, which was a venue that was touted as being like shut down, but it sounds like they've managed to save it, which is brilliant news, because I remember the campaign that Jarvis Cocker did this big speech about like why we should save the lead mill, and it was like another case of the UK losing yet another great historic venue. But yeah, if they did save it, then that is absolutely fantastic, and I really hope that more venues put their foot down and say no, we're not having this. Let's put the music and art first. We're not going to turn this into more flats or whatever. So it's really good that the lead mill stayed defiant. So yeah, anyway, you've got lead mill. You've got Wolverhampton on there. You've got Cambridge. That's the final venue of the tour, and then in between, I think it's like in between the last two or last three, you've got the Roundhouse in London, where I first saw them back in 2015, like their third, which was their like third ever gig back, because they did like Barrowlands and then Manchester Apollo, I think, or was it Apollo or Royal Albert Hall, like one of them, and then they did the Roundhouse as their third ever gig back, and that's when they glitched the speakers when they did the drive blinds noise section. So yeah, it was crazy. I just remember the speakers glitching. Like even after the song, it was like Ride still had more songs to play, and it was still like glitching up, and yeah, that was an experience. That was nowhere near as loud as what My Bloody Valentine do it apparently, but I've never witnessed that, so I can't really judge. But yeah, apparently that's meant to be like that's like another level or two. The You Made Me Realise noise section. But yeah, really great news, and they've got a US tour as well, which is before in May time. They must be really sick of playing the USA, because they've played there with the Charlatans for like, they did that January tour, and then they last year they did another one with them as well, and that was US. So I really think they should have done the Charlatans joint tour in the UK as well. Really, to be fair. But yeah, they must be quite sick of the USA. But I guess that's where like the shoegaze revival is, isn't it? Like that's where, even though Ride aren't strictly a shoegaze band, not to the orthodox extreme. But they, yeah, I guess like the whole sort of shoegaze revival in US has like took off a lot more than in the UK, and I guess they just get a bit more fanfare over there, which is a real shame because Ride have like such a British sound. So it's kind of weird, really, how they're more popular in like in the States, where you would think like a band like Swerve Driver would be a lot more popular with that kind of grunge sound that they were carrying. Even though they were from Oxford too, they had this more American driving through Route 66, dual Spielberg's dual kind of imagery going on, you know. But yeah, I mean, the UK crowd is always really good for a Ride gig. We do, the British guys do turn up, and we really do. There's a lot of bouncing around, which is good. Which, you know, opposed to that slow dive, it's a different experience. You know, the crowd are more pumped up, and everyone's just shows a bit more personality than just a slow dive gig when everyone's like this. You know, sort of like stiff upper lip kind of stuff. But I like what I like about the Ride shows is that everyone's like, because they have such a dynamic sound. It's like their songs are like different. They have a variety of different styles, um, and I think it's just great energy. They've got a real dynamism to their sound, to their set list. The way it goes from like one kind of style to another. Um, and yeah, I mean, I know I was really excited about Peace Sign in my initial reaction to it, but really, when now that the dust has settled, I don't think it's a very good opener at all. Really, I'm really surprised that, despite what Los Colbert said in this interview that I heard with some Irish guy, he thought it was a really good opener. But I highly disagree when you compare it to like Leave Them All Behind and Seagull as album openers. It really pales in comparison to that, and even, you know, Carnival of Light, which is pretty good album. I mean, I'm not one of the haters at all. I mean, I really like it in the summertime. Moonlight Medicine and Only Now and From Time to Time. I mean, there's definitely some good songs in there. And even Moonlight Medicine, that's the opening track of Carnival of Light, and that's a really another great opening track. And Tarantula, even the Nightmare of Tarantula, even the first track, Black Night Crash, even that's like really a good opener. And Lannoy Points from Weather Diaries, and then you've got RIDE, the acronym of Ride, in it. It's like they've got the dots in between the letters. That was the first one of This Is Not a Safe Place, and even that's, you know, I mean, it was just an instrumental, but I would say that's better than Peace Sign. I think it's the weakest opening track that they've ever done in their whole history. But still, I do have high hopes for the album, and I do think there's been lots of good stuff said about the other tracks, especially Portland Rocks, which is meant to be like a throwback to like Leave Them All Behind, like a massive, gigantic guitar wall of sound. So I'm really looking forward to like Portland Rocks, and I think it's like light in a dark room as well. That was like bigged up to be, that's being bigged up to be like a throwback to their early sound. So I think, yeah, I think there will be a couple that I dislike, probably the more synth based 80s pop kind of influence ones. Because I'm just not really into that clean sound at all. I know my dad is, like, he's all into he wants that kind of 80s like clean SSL console kind of sound, but I'm really into more gritty alternative rock is what I'm really into, and I want to hear more guitar feedback, man, and I want to hear reverb with distortion just crackling away in this whooshy kind of style. So I think, yeah, I think it will satisfy like all the different kind of fans of Ride. It would probably reach all the different corners of their sound, and I think that I mean, that Peace Sign is nothing new. Like people who really, I mean, I don't think it's bad. I think it's okay. But the people who really rip into it, it's like, did they ever hear did they just miss like repetition from This Is Not a Safe Place? Like we always knew that Ride had that synthy side in their new sound, in their post 2015 sound. We always knew that the synths were there. You know, it's like, well, the Tomorrow Shore EP was the probably the biggest example of their kind of changing direction. You think about, I mean, Pulsar was like, that was the guitar driven. That was like the psychedelic guitar one, wasn't it? That was the phaser, the throwback to the OX4 song from Going Blank Again. But you had Catch You Dreaming, and that was very 80s pop, synthesizer. It was an auto tune on Mark's voice. Catch You Dreaming, Keep It Surreal was the other one, wasn't it? Keep it surreal. The one with Loz, the drummer, singing. Yeah, and there was another one as well. I think that was Cold Water Flat or something. Had like a really weird name, like Cold Water Flat, or like really something strange like that. Flat Cold Water People. Yeah, something weird, and I think that was, yeah. So we always knew that this kind of, this side of Ride, this more electronic approach was in there. I mean, you got to remember they've been working with Errol Olkin as well, who's into the electronic techno side of things. So there's obviously inspiration in there. I mean, it all depends who you work with a lot of the time. I mean, you know, they were working with Mulder, weren't they? Alan Mulder, when they were doing the noisy records like Nowhere and Today Forever and the early EPs, they were working with Mulder, weren't they, a lot of the time? And Alan Mulder just finished working with, you know, My Bloody Valentine. He was doing that, well, at the same time, I would say, simultaneously. He was working with them and Curve with Flood. He was doing Curve with Flood. Mark Ellis, the guys who worked at Trident Studios together, and they went on and they did Curve. And you know, you went on to Nine Inch Nails, didn't he? Much more aggressive stuff a bit later, and then Marilyn Manson even as well. I think by the end of the 90s. But you know, so yeah, I think it will be a good album, and I think there'll be stuff for everybody and in there. And one of the reasons why I really like Ride is that they do have those different elements to their sound in different phases, different eras, and it's probably going to be better than the Slow Dive one, which I thought was very uninspired. Rest in peace to Simon Scott's mother, who passed away unfortunately this week. Yeah, not ideal. They've had another fatality because I think there was another like family bereavement as well, like in the making of Slow Dive's latest album. So yeah, sad times, and my condolences go out to you. But from going back to the arts now, I just thought that the Snow Dive album was kind of like going through the motions. I didn't think it was an inspired record. It was kind of like, well, let's just like, you know, throw some reverb on this like 4 chord sequence and like just see what happens. It didn't seem to be much thought into the songwriting. I thought Andalusia Plays was probably one of the better ones, but even that wasn't like an absolute classic. But I thought it was a better song than most of it, and the one that's the song that's like second to last, like Chained to a Cloud. I thought that one had like a good like bass line, a good like pulsing rhythm to it. Yeah, Chained to a Cloud was probably my favourite. But yeah, I reckon this Ride album's it's gonna turn a few heads. Um, yeah, and hopefully Breather can support them. But I got in touch with Mark Gardner, and he said that you know that the what do you call, the booking agents, they kind of select an artist to support them through all the dates. They don't just select like one artist for each venue, which so that would put a lot of pressure on us if Breather was selected to support them in Ireland and then UK like almost every day. I mean, that would be really out of our comfort zone, and yeah, I mean, for a fresh band like this, I don't know if we want to push ourselves that hard. I mean, because of, well, we've got work commitments, that's the main thing. And a lot of those gigs will fall in the middle of the week. So whether five guys can find the time off work and that's obviously the biggest thing we have to contend with. Um, but if they do allow like one artist for each venue, then Breather would absolutely love, adore to play Falmouth at that pavilion place or at Bristol SWX. We could do either of those, or we could do both of them because we're basically the Southwest grunge gazers. So we could definitely do that and maybe negotiate something with Ride's promo team, the booking agents. I mean, yeah, and marketing department, and maybe get something going. So yeah, Breather and Ride, September tour. Let's make it happen.